thanks, Josh, for being so kind as to chair all of these meetings last year. Hopefully, I've not gotten too rusty, so we'll get back into this.
Dave, I learned by watching you. So.
Well, Happy New Year, everyone. Great to have you back here in Missoula County Government Operations and at our periodic admin meetings that we typically have every week. So to begin with, is there any public comment on items not on today's agenda? Well, I will add one just for the heck of it. So today from 2 to 3:30 p.m. will be the first ever in the state of Montana meeting of the board of directors of the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority. So thank you all out there who've, yeah, there we go. Thank you everyone who's helped us get to this point, and we will be convening 12 counties stretching from Webo to Sanders County, and mainly organizational stuff today that we have to plow through to get up and running. But anyway, it's a momentous day. So if you're not doing anything and want to tune into that, it is a public meeting, so feel free. Okay, without further ado, is there any other comment on non-agenda items? Okay, we will kick things off with our very own county auditor, David Wall. What do you have for us today?
Well, hi. It's good to see everybody again. It's been a little while. First, I'd like to say I just cannot wait to take the train to Billings or to Seattle and Portland or to Chicago, because I'm afraid of flying. So once I can board a train in Missoula, I'm going to be a very happy camper. I'd like to thank you, Dave, for really pushing this forward. I think it's great. So I have before you a resolution. I brought it before you all a few weeks ago as a discussion item. It's a resolution stating a preference for purchasing goods and services from firms based here in Missoula County. In other words, buying locally. This was something that we are asking all departments to really keep in mind when they're doing, but this is not any kind of a hammer from above saying they must purchase from a certain vendor or something like that. There is certainly times where we will not be able to get a good or service from a local firm, and we'll just have to go outside to do that, or if the price difference is too great. But it's just something that saying we really prefer to buy from firms in Missoula County. And I think it fits nicely with what is going to be item number 2 on today's agenda too. So I think it's a kind of a good preview of that. I also sent this out as a draft to everybody in the county, every employee in the county, at least with an email, just to hear what they have to say. I heard really only positive comments. People thought it was a good idea generally. And I had only one piece of advice for something to add in there, thanks to Commissioner Strohmeyer, who thought I should add a piece about putting one of our goal statements for the county in there. And so that I did that. That's the last whereas, because we do have a goal statement that says that we would engage with partners to retain and attract good paying jobs and encourage a diverse economy in Missoula County. And we can do that very strongly by buying local. So that's the resolution I have before you. I'm asking you to approve it, but I think it's time now for any questions you all may have.
Thanks, Dave. Sure. Any questions, comments?
Dave, I'm just real quick, we're at the spot.
What was that? There was a few people there.
Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, my screen keeps freezing up here. I was saying, Dave, I'm really excited that we're at this spot where we discussed this and now we can move this forward. And I really like that you would open that this isn't a hammer from above, but we're saying this is our goal with a full and clear understanding that it's not always possible or practical, but whenever possible and practical, we're going to keep public money
in the county, I think is what I'm going to say.
Yeah,
I'm glad we're here.
For you there, Josh.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, thanks.
This did go through legal review. I did throw it past Brian West.
Great. That was my
want me
only
to-
question, was
Yeah,
what sort of
absolutely.
feedback we got from Brian.
Sure. Yeah, he said he had no concerns.
Great.
Great. Yeah, thanks for working on this, Dave. This is important.
This kind of stuff is fun. I love it.
I really love the active auditor.
Yes.
So,
Thanks.
great.
Thank you.
Is that your motion, Josh?
Yes, my motion. I got you. I'm out of practice. My motion is that we approve the resolution requesting departments purchase goods and services locally whenever practical, cost effective, and not in conflict with statute or county policy.
Second.
Any further comment or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Thank you all.
You bet.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah.
So, Melissa Gordon, are you out there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we have some contracts before us today.
We do. So I am requesting that the board approve contracts in the amount of $624,737.82 from the Community Development Block Grant Revolving Loan Fund for the Missoula County COVID-19 Small Business Job Retention Grant Program. You all made up to $625,000 of our revolving loan fund available for job retention grants for low and moderate income folks for small businesses in Missoula County. A total of 27 awards will be made from the fund, and as I said before, they total $624, $737, and 82 cents. Would you like me to read through each recipient and the amount?
Yes, please.
Okay. So Dog and Bicycle Bakery and Cafe will receive $25,000, Guild $25,000, Green Source $25,000, Hockey Wolf $25,000, Little Twigs $25,000, Pangea $25,000, Scotty's Table $25,000, Willow Bark Science $25,000, Cafe Dolce $25,000, Dram Central $25,000, The Badlander $25,000, The Press Box $25,000, Medicab $14,104, Montgomery Distillery $15,000, N&M Freight Solutions $25,000, Laughing Grizzly $25,000, Morgan Pierce $19,900, Burn Street Bistro $25,000, Create Art Bar $25,000, Dr. Kate Baker $15,501.96, Missoula Bike Source $25,000, Origins Preschool $25,000, Shadows Keep $25,000, Days Inn and Suites Lolo $25,000, Ellie Hill Smith Law Office $25,000, Big Sky Nanny $10,231.86, and Second Set Bistro $25,000. So these awards are to be used. The contract term is January 1st through March 31st. So the recipients will be using the funds during that time frame, and then they will be submitting program and financial reports within 20 days of the end of the contract term so that we can ensure that the funds were used as intended.
I'm
Well,
so
thanks for
glad
all the-
we're able to do this. Thank you so much, Melissa and crew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Melissa, could you, I don't know if you've had a chance to see this. This morning we received an email message from the Pathfinder raising some concerns about geographic distribution of these grant dollars. Any thoughts there?
I think there were many different ways that the rollout of the program could have happened. I feel like the program design that we landed on, which was first come, first serve for complete and eligible applications, made the most sense given that the goal was to get the funds out in very short order. We did receive many applications after the funds were spoken for from businesses within the city of Missoula, but also from outlying areas. There, I worked with MEP and the Downtown Association and with the community councils and with the county communications folks to get the word out to folks across the county. I do recognize that some businesses in Missoula are set up to apply for funding, and they just have a sophisticated is not the right word, but they're just more well equipped to be able to be responsive to an opportunity like this. I wish we could have come up with a perfect formula to ensure that this was distributed fairly. But I think that we did the best that we could within the time parameters that we had. I don't know if that's answering your question.
I mean, I think there's something in there, Melissa, that you led with first come, first serve. That says what it is. This wasn't, we're going to favor businesses from one locality or another. It was straight up first come, first serve. And people learned about this electronically, which no one gains an advantage by where you are. It's unfortunate that we didn't have enough money to give an award to everyone who applied. But I fully agree with you that this was the best we could do, the best possible structure, given that our goal was to get this money out the door as fast as possible, because people are hurting in the way that they are.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And then recognizing, like you said, that some businesses are equipped and positioned to be able to react quickly and others aren't. And that's unfortunate. It's just that, yes. And I wish we could do a lot more, but I'm really proud of what you were able to scrape together to help these businesses. Sorry, Josh, go ahead.
I was saying, and you pulled this together before the latest federal COVID relief package. And now there are other options that didn't exist when we were doing this. And I remember in the first conversations, us referring to this as a stopgap until the feds move in with more money, greater resources, et cetera. And they did. Doesn't mean everything is all right for everybody. We're in a terrible spot, but it's not nearly as bad as it would have been if federal legislation hadn't come in. And the thanks keep coming here, but I applaud you and your staff for creativity. This was supposed to be a revolving loan fund, and there's a large amount of money there. And you guys saw a way that we could spin this around and get money out the door as grants to businesses that needed it, especially businesses, as you said, that were hiring low and middle income people and were in danger of laying people off or closing their doors. And super proud that you guys figured that out and that we could move this forward. As imperfect as it is, it's really a great thing.
Yeah, thanks so much, Melissa. People wonder what Missoula County is doing to help with the economic crisis that we're in, and this is precisely it. It's not as much as maybe we would wish that we could provide, but it's not an insignificant amount of money, and it was leveraged creatively, thinking about how we can think outside the box. And contrary to the naysayers out there who immediately had a knee-jerk reaction in that we're just going to shovel this money out to big box stores and it's not going to help local businesses. Well, I hope that by you reading the names of the businesses that these dollars are going to, these are familiar small businesses here in our community.
Yeah, they had to have under 50 employees and be in danger of laying people off who are of low and middle income or closing their doors. That's not a big box store.
Yeah.
So with that, I move to approve the contracts in the amount of $624,737.82 from the Community Development Block Grant Revolving Loan Fund.
Second that.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Melissa.
So Melissa, when do people get the money?
Melissa, when do the checks get cut?
Yes.
Thank you. I can actually answer that if you'd like. Hate to butt in. Now that this has been approved, Lori is going to send you all one batch. The batch is only made up of these claims. And so I'd like the three commissioners, I'd like you to look for your email for those. And as soon as they're signed off, I have to make a confession. I printed the checks last night. The checks are cut. But I cannot distribute them until any claims, of course, are signed off by the commissioners. So we're going to get these checks to Melissa and then distributed however she wants to distribute them today. They're
fantastic. Well done, Dave.
Yeah, big thanks to the auditor's office and the finance folks. They've really helped us to move this along at an incredible speed, really. So thank you.
Thanks. Breaking news, the checks will be in the mail today. That's great.
That's really good.
Okay, Adrian.
Good morning, Commissioners. What I have before you is a request to approve a professional services agreement with the Red Lion Inn and Suites of Missoula for extended use of hotel rooms by our office. As you all know, our office has been tasked with non-congregate shelter amid COVID-19. It is a FEMA public assistance approved activity, which means that we receive 75% funding from the federal government for this activity. The Red Lion is an approved facility. Back in November, what we saw was an increased use of non-congregate shelter, and our current facility, which is the Sleepy Inn, was at or near capacity for many weeks on end, which made us pretty nervous about our ability to respond to the needs of individuals who needed to isolate or quarantine to prevent contaminating other community members, due to the fact that the people who access non-congregate shelter often live in congregate settings, either multi-generational households or homeless shelters. And so in order to create more capacity, we looked at moving a portion of the individuals who can legitimately access non-congregate shelter under FEMA's guidance, which we typically refer to as Tier 3 individuals. These are folks that do not have COVID specifically, but meet the criteria for accessing non-congregate shelter by virtue of them being over 65 and having underlying health conditions, which puts them at higher risk for contracting COVID-19 and having a poor outcome. So we were able to work with the Red Lion to block out a section of rooms to essentially move these Tier 3 folks over there, thus creating more capacity at the Sleepy Inn for quarantine and isolation exclusively.
Maybe you said this, Adrian, how many folks with the capacity for the Tier 3 or for Red Lion?
So what we have agreed to with the Red Lion is up to 10 rooms, but we're not currently using all 10 rooms.
Okay.
And Adrian, something that you hit on there I think is pretty important, because we've received at least some public comment from folks who are, I think, erroneously under the assumption that the Sleepy Inn is just vacant and not being used. So if I'm hearing you correctly, it absolutely is being fully utilized.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. Thanks, Commissioner. In that, you know, to date, since March, we have served nearly 200 unique individuals with non-congregate shelter. And so it's absolutely a need that, you know, we don't have a crystal ball as to when we're going to see the spikes and when we're going to be done with non-congregate shelter. So we're just trying to build as much capacity as we possibly can, you know, get that catcher's mitt as big as we can. Right now, we're very fortunate in that we have good capacity at the Sleepy Inn. And typically we see that our numbers for people accessing non-congregate shelter are correlated to what we see in the community. And so right now we're seeing some lower community numbers, which is great, but we can't necessarily bank on that.
Thanks. Any other questions or a motion?
I would move we approve the PSA with the Red Lion.
Second, and I'm really glad the Red Lion's there and willing and able.
Yeah, and at what appears to be quite a reasonable rate too.
Yeah.
Oh, and Martin's got his hand up.
Martin.
Hey, good morning. Just real quick, Adrian, what's the estimated cost of this arrangement?
Adrian?
So are you saying currently, I mean, we've negotiated a rate for $60 per night for the rooms that we utilize. We've said that we won't go over 10, so I guess you could do some rough math there, and that would be $20,000 a month if we were at full capacity.
And that's reimbursable by FEMA, as you had said, correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
75%.
75% from FEMA, correct.
Okay. And given where we are at the start of the new calendar year, the other 25%, we're going to have to shoulder that since the state will no longer pick that up. Is that correct or not?
Well, that's an assumption that we're working on right now. The previous administration had pledged to provide that 25% match to local jurisdictions. We don't yet know what Governor Gianforte will do.
Okay, very good. Okay.
Need a vote.
Yes, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Adrian. And the next one's yours too.
Yeah, so what you have before you is what they call obligating documents. Our office applied for a litany of Homeland Security grants in the last fiscal year. And what they have typically that occurs is reverted funds. And one of our applications that was not funded in the initial allocation was made eligible through reverted funds. And so we had asked for $150, $150,000 for Missoula County cybersecurity projects. So working closely with Jason Emery and his shop, doing some tertiary backup as well as the two-factor authentication to increase our cybersecurity for Missoula County. So we were happy to be eligible for the reverted funds, and this is the obligating documents that will allow us to move forward with that.
That's great. Was this a planned thing, or were you surprised that this reverted money was available, or were you counting on this?
I don't know that I wouldn't say that I was counting on it, but cybersecurity is one of the priority projects that that Homeland Security looked to fund in this fiscal year, and so it wasn't surprising that when the reverted funds were available, that they looked at those cybersecurity grant applications.
Great, thanks.
Great. I motion that the chair sign the obligating documents.
I'll second.
Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Adrian.
Thank you.
Allison. A request to repeal policy 89B.
Yes, good morning. I believe 89 is in reference to 1989. Dave Wall can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but so yes, this is a request to repeal 89B, which adopted the MC logo that you guys are used to seeing, so back in 1989. So this is a request for you guys to repeal that and then adopt the new logo that we recently designed. And I will share my screen here to bring that up. Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I like it.
Yeah, so that is our new logo.
The interior of the courthouse.
Yes. So yeah, it was initially inspired by the dome in the courthouse. We got some staff feedback, and Times 2 is the studio we worked with, and they tweaked it a little, so it's now kind of also inspired by the Bitterroot, which is really great. So yeah, we
Allison,
are
I know that you know the next question I'm going to ask is, but when can we order swag at no cost to the taxpayer, but just as individuals want to buy a hoodie with this logo on it because we're proud to work with you.
Yes. Yeah, I think we had talked about maybe doing that through employee council, having that be something that could help fund them. But yeah, we'll get right on the swag.
Good. I'm super excited. I'm not joking. It's a great logo and I want to be wearing it.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. Yeah, we're really happy with the final product. And just real quick, I just want to clarify, we approved redesigning the logo for the fiscal year 20 budget, and it was about $10,000 to redesign the logo and do the branding guide that I'll pop up here really quick too, that Times 2 did for us. So we've sent this out to staff. We've got, do's and don'ts, all of the fonts that we want to be using with the logo. So hopefully that'll help us have a more kind of cohesive look with all our communications across the county. And so that was part of the FY20 budget. We didn't decide to design a new logo in the midst of a pandemic. So I just want to be clear about that. It just kind of prolonged the process and adoption to this point. So.
No, I think this is emblematic of our ability to walk and chew gum at the same time, and public health crises, and also the other more mundane aspects of county government. And this is so attractive that I have no doubt that counties across Montana will be clamoring for the swag that we come up with. So.
Yes.
Good work.
Thank you.
What do you think?
All right, I would move that we repeal policy 89B and adopt the newly updated logo.
Second.
Any further discussion out there? All in favor? Aye.
Aye. So
All right,
Allison,
yep, logo.
please send out a note when we can order swag with,
Okay. You'll be the first to know. Thank you.
All right, we are going to pull item 6 from the agenda today. It is not ripe today. And move on to item 7. And this looks like just an employment agreement that we are so accustomed to with no
It is,
presenter.
Commissioners. Yeah, it is, Commissioners. I will speak on PHC's behalf where it's an employment agreement. So this is just a change in hours for an existing employee. Starting January 10th, they'll be moving to 0.8 or 32 hours a week versus the 40 hours a week. So just a minor amendment.
great.
I move to approve this minor amendment for the employment agreement between Molly Quinn and PHC.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on that? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
And Chris, we have a final salary adjustment for PHC employees.
Yes. Thank you. I had completely missed that on there. So this is a request by partnership, as you know, in the beginning of the fiscal year, as we were kind of in uncertain times with COVID, we paused on some of the pay increases that we were putting in place, and partnership joined us in doing that. So they are asking to make some salary adjustments for employees in the kind of mid-tier of their range of salaries. And these are primarily not providers, but would be things like registered nurses. They've already done patient services reps. So these would be registered nurses, clinic supervisors, some of their social workers, those kinds of things. So this is adjustments to folks in that kind of middle tier range before you get to their providers for that. And it works out to be on average about 2%.
Okay.
And they've got their money.
They do have the money, and again, just as a reminder for everyone, partnership does not actually get property tax dollars. They do get most of their money either through fee-for-service or grants that they're eligible to apply for, but there's not a specific property tax levy for partnership.
Glad you brought that up. Great. Well, I would move we approve the final salary adjustment for PHC employees.
Second.
Any further discussion on this? All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Kyla, we have a zoning board of adjustment appointment.
Morning, Commissioners. A couple board appointments before you. The first one is for the zoning board of adjustments. We had 3 vacancies. 3 members had submitted their letters for resignation for terms ending December 31st of 2020. And then we had 1 applicant, Vanessa Sievers. One of the vacancies was a regular member term. So the first motion is to move him from the 3rd alternate up to a regular member seat, and that's Matthew Swinson. So the first motion is to request to appoint the 3rd alternate, Matt Swinson, as a regular member, filling Paul Forstein's seat to a new 2-year term, which would start January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2022. And then the new applicant would be to request the board Vanessa Sievers as a first alternate to a 2-year term, January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2022.
Thanks. And we can do this simultaneously, folks want.
Great. So go for it, Juan.
Okay. Did you have a question?
No, not at all.
No.
Okay. I motion to approve items 9 and 10. Or appoint items 9 and 10.
And that was just for 9, actually.
Oh, am I looking at the wrong?
Vanessa applied for 2 boards.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
sorry. Okay, zoning board of adjustment, first one. Okay, yes, I motion to appoint members as you've described to the zoning board of adjustments.
Okay, I'll second that.
Any further discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
So, Kyla, will we, I'm assuming, keep this open since there's still vacancies?
Yes, there's still 2 alternate position vacancies that are open, but at least this will fill the board.
We need to jazz up the title of this board to make it more attractive. I don't know.
Zoning Board of Adjustments and cocktails.
All
Yeah,
right,
that-
item,
Oh, I was just gonna say, Allison, like, I mean, what sort of outreach do we do for this board?
So we send out media release for all our board vacancies, but we can do some social media on it. We can make it sound fun.
Not just sound fun, it is fun. I mean,
Yes. We can convey accurately the funness.
Nothing spells fun like zoning hearings.
but this is like how you craft the community zoning board of adjustments. It's yeah.
Yeah, we can do some additional outreach on that.
Okay. Thanks.
You bet.
yes. Okay, thanks, Allison and Kyla. So, Kyla,
Oh,
do
so
we have
am I
someone else
still,
want? Who was that?
yeah, am I still going here? Sorry. Item number 10. No, that is 10. That's
Oh, that was 9. Kyla, do you want to tell us about item number 10?
Yeah, I was
Sure.
going to introduce Ken.
So item number 10 is for the Planning and Zoning Commission. We had a member, Dick Ainsworth, term out, and he no longer lived in the citizen-initiated zoning district, so that created 2 vacancies. We had 1 new applicant, again, Vanessa Severs, and she resides in the county zoning district C-A3, so she qualifies to be within one of those citizen-initiated zoning districts. So the motion before you is to request to appoint Vanessa Severs to a new 2-year term beginning January 1, 2021 through December 31st, 2022.
All right, I move we do number 10.
second.
Vanessa is clearly an overachiever. Any further
Yeah, I was remembering Vanessa's resume. I was intimidated to speak to her. I'm still a little nervous.
Any further discussion on the appointment of Vanessa Severs to the somewhat infrequently meeting Planning and Zoning Commission? All in favor?
Aye.
Hi. We,
Okay.
we should.
Complete new citizen or new to the county, and it's just fantastic that she's getting involved.
Yeah, I would say this is a testament to people who are as qualified as Vanessa for wanting to be involved in civic affairs. Really fortunate.
Yeah.
That's the
All
case.
right.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thanks, Kyla.
Thanks.
Any correspondence today that we need to discuss? Okay, seeing none, we have one discussion item, and this deals with extraterritorial application of the new city ordinance to restrict the self-service display of tobacco products and to prohibit the sale of flavored electronic vaping products. Lisa Beskevich, are you out there?
Hey, Lisa, this is Shannon. Lisa is out there. I'm going to take the lead in starting to talk about this, and then Anna is also here because really what we want to talk with you guys about is the process that we're going to use for this. So we've been, Lisa and Arwen have talked with the BCC a number of times about this ordinance and the idea that it's a health-related ordinance, and so it can be applied extraterritorially with approval from both the health board and the BCC. And so it initially started with the health board adopting a resolution and asking both the commissioners and the city council to do something to help stop the epidemic of youth, especially using vape products, electronic tobacco products. And so we were seeing, and Lisa has all of the numbers way better than I do, but just a giant increase in the number of kids becoming addicted to nicotine. And a lot of that traces back, of course, to the flavored electronic tobacco products. But then also, as we were looking at this ordinance and putting it together and working very closely with Mirta Becerra, I think it was Arwen that discovered that some places where tobacco products are displayed are actually displayed like below the counter at kid eye level, and they look like candy, and it's just kind of predatory display practices. And so ultimately, the city council did pass an ordinance that did three things. It restricted the display of self-serve tobacco products of any kind, except in places where kids are not allowed to go into. Only 18 and over are allowed to go into, or 21 and over actually. And Lisa can explain the 18 versus 21 because it's basically state versus federal right now. And then the second thing it does is it bans flavored electronic tobacco products, so vape products, e-cigarettes. And then the third thing it does is it makes it illegal, and I guess as it is illegal at the state level and at the federal level, but states that it's illegal to either sell or give tobacco products to people under 18, youths under 18. So it did those three things, and now they've passed it, and it's actually will be going into effect in January. The health board reviewed it and approved it, and now it's coming to the commissioners to review and approve. And if the commissioners approve it, it can be applied 5 miles outside the city limits, which is great because that takes in a large amount of the area that's the urban area. And when we do the presentation for the public process, the action item, we'll show you a picture of what that 5 mile zone looks like. The reason why we wanted to bring it to you as a discussion item first is twofold. One, I think that you guys like that. And secondly, we wanted to talk about the process we're going through a little bit because it's kind of strange. Because it's an ordinance that is being applied extraterritorially, even though what the commissioners are doing are approving that extraterritorial application. Dory and Anna felt like it would be best if we followed the ordinance requirements as opposed to just the resolution requirements. And why that's significant is a resolution can be adopted at a single meeting, a public meeting by the commissioners, but an ordinance, you actually have to have 2 meetings, one at which you preliminarily adopt it, and then the second one where you have the public hearing and you do a final adoption, or at least 2 meetings. You can have more, of course. So because it is applying an ordinance outside the city limits, we thought this would be the best process to use. And Anna is on the line if you have any questions about that. But the idea is to come next week to, I think on the 12th, either Lisa or Arwen will do the presentation of why it's important, and Mirta and Gwen Jones from the City Council will be there to tell you why it ended up the way it ended up and why it's so important that we have this ordinance in place and what its intended purpose is. And then I guess you guys will adopt it. You've done ordinances before, but you adopt it preliminarily and then have a public hearing at least 12 days later. So that's the story.
So Shannon or Anna, will the actual public hearing be during one of our Thursday public meetings?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So we'll do the first one at an admin, and then we'll do kind of a shorter, version, more succinct version at a public, one of your public meetings.
Great.
So and again, just maybe you said this already, is what is coming before us at admin next week I guess it wouldn't be a resolution. Is it the same ordinance that we're going to see then at the public meeting, or some sort of action of intention to adopt the ordinance?
Yes, that's a great question. So what it is you will get a resolution. So you guys are adopting a resolution
Okay.
that is approving the extraterritorial application of the city ordinance. And then the city ordinance is being attached to the resolution.
Okay. Anna, is there anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I don't know, Juan and Josh, have you guys been through one of these where the commission considers the application extraterritorially of a city ordinance? It's a really interesting thing. I think Dave did one a few years ago, but I think it's been a while. And basically state law under Title VII says that if the city enacts an ordinance through the city council, then if it's health related, and the health board for the county, or in our case, the city county, approves it and the commission approves it, then it can apply not only in the city, but also 5 miles outside of the city extraterritorially. So it went before the city council. City council approved it as a city ordinance. Last month, it went to the city county health board. They approved the extraterritorial application of it. And so now the next step is for this county commission to determine whether you want it to also apply extraterritorially. So it's the 5 mile extraterritorial application of a city ordinance.
Yeah.
And so there's clear authority for you guys to do this, but there isn't clear procedure for you to do it. When we did it last time, we did it as the procedure for when you adopt a resolution. But because we love due process and we love meetings and we love gold standard public comment opportunities, we decided that we were going to use the procedure that applies to county ordinances for this particular resolution because it is the extraterritorial application of a city ordinance. And that county ordinance process requires adoption and then a subsequent meeting where you say, yes, we definitely want to do it. So between today's meeting and then the 2 subsequent meetings, there will be ample opportunity for public comment for you to consider when you're considering extraterritorial application of the city ordinance.
Great.
Thank you. So
Yeah,
Dave, what was the last one you did? What sort of extraterritorial ordinances?
I do not recall.
It was also a tobacco. It was the city's smoking ordinance that we did in 2018.
Dave, weren't you pushing for that no dancing on Sundays thing?
Yeah, no.
That's forthcoming. Yeah. Okay, well, thanks, Shannon and Anna. I do see there are a few members of the public on the line here, recognizing that there will be a couple more opportunities and all of the intervening time between now and then to comment on the substance of our action item before us. Today, we're just talking about the process, but if anyone would like to chime in now and offer comment, this would be your opportunity.
We got a thumbs up from the auditor on proper procedure.
Good.
All right. Well, very good. Well, we look forward to having the full presentation on this at our next meeting in admin. So thanks, Shannon and Anna.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. Anything else related to upcoming events or other matters that we need to discuss today? Okay, pregnant pause there. Well, seeing none, thanks everyone. Welcome back to Missoula County government in action in 2021. So be well and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, goodbye.
Bye.